Right now, as you watch this, the global housing market is being systematically targeted by a highly organized, completely invisible breed of digital asset liquidators. The systems we trust to protect our homes, our savings, and our families are fundamentally broken. And to prove exactly how defenseless the digital gatekeepers truly are, we decided to see if it was possible to put Buckingham Palace itself up for rent on the open market. We didn't use a dark web portal or highly sophisticated hacking tools, and instead we created a ghost real estate agency completely from scratch, using nothing but a basic laptop and an internet connection. We built a premium, highly convincing corporate website, wrapping it in a specific shade of royal blue, a color psychologically proven to bypass human suspicion and mimic institutional trust. We named the agency Maxlit, which is a hidden warning for anyone paying attention, because Max is literally the word scam spelled entirely backward. We gathered unverified, public domain photos of the palace interior, filled out a fictional landlord profile, and set the rental price to a highly attractive, competitive £2,000 a month. No identity check was triggered, no deed verification was requested, no proof of legal ownership was required by the platform. Within exactly 4 minutes, our ghost listing bypassed every single automated security protocol on a major mainstream property website and went live to the public with an official green verification tick. There was literally a live, active rental pin drop sitting directly on the residence of the King of England. And then, the burner phone on our desk actually rang. A genuine, unsuspecting prospective tenant was on the line, completely hooked by the price, ready to ask about the move-in date and transfer a massive holding deposit to secure the unit. But think about the terror of that reality. If a loan creator can legally weaponize a mainstream platform to put a royal palace on the market in 4 minutes flat, what are professional, international criminal syndicates doing to everyday renters and desperate property owners? Nearly £16 million has been lost to rental scams in just over a year, and the data reveals a terrifying trend. It isn't senior citizens clicking dodgy email links, it is young, highly educated, tech-savvy people getting absolutely ruined. Over the next 20 minutes, we are pulling back the curtain on the multi-billion-dollar global property cartel. From the fake agent syndicates of Southeast Asia to the celebrity house flippers running $30 million psychological operations. It's traps in America.
This is the hidden machinery of the ultimate land grab.
To understand how these international syndicates operate without ever getting caught, you have to realize that they are no longer hiding on anonymous forums. They are weaponizing our everyday mainstream platforms directly against us. Their operational blueprint relies on a brilliant, terrifying loop of short-term platform arbitrage. Step 1 of the script is simple. The syndicate logs onto a short-term rental platform like Airbnb and books a premium, fully furnished luxury apartment in a high-demand luxury district, such as Bangsar in Kuala Lumpur or central London. They pay the standard overnight fee for a single day, receive the digital key code from the unsuspecting host, and assume total physical control of a multi-million-dollar asset for exactly 24 hours. Step 2 is where the trap is set. While they hold the keys, they copy the high-quality photos from the original listing, generate a fake permanent rental profile on local property classified boards, and slash the average market rent by 40%. This massive discount creates an artificial sense of urgency, generating hundreds of desperate inquiries within minutes. When eager victims demand an immediate walkthrough, the syndicate deploys a tactical ghost protocol. They completely refuse to communicate over voice or video calls, keeping everything locked strictly to WhatsApp text messages so their voices can never be recorded or identified. On the day of the viewing, the fake agent execution is flawless. They text the victim, "Oh, I'm so sorry, a sudden family emergency came up and I can't make it to the property. But don't worry, I've passed your details to our part-time colleague who is waiting in the lobby right now to let you in." When the victims arrive, they meet this colleague, who isn't a scammer at all. It's usually just a completely oblivious random gig worker, an on-demand courier, or an unsuspecting local hired off a task app for $10 just to open a door. This proxy silently walks them up to the unit. The victims walk through the rooms, open the cabinets, test the water pressure, and take video walkthroughs, completely unaware that the property was legitimately rented on Airbnb just 2 hours prior by a syndicate sitting across an international border. This trap doesn't just catch the uneducated or naive. In the UK, Charlotte, an experienced professional working directly in cybersecurity, and her partner Saudi were caught in this exact loop. They trusted the platform, saw multiple other real families viewing the house at the same time, and felt the immense pressure of the market. They put in an offer immediately, signed a digital lease, and transferred a £2,000 deposit. The moment the bank cleared the personal account, after the transfer, the agent vanished. By the time Charlotte ran a reverse Google image search, she found the exact listing active on Airbnb. The scammers had already wiped their profiles clean. But the financial numbers on a screen pale in comparison to the devastating human toll. Look at 24-year-old Hisham, who moved from Kuching to Kuala Lumpur to pursue his dreams of a career in the capital. He found a beautifully furnished room in Bangsar listed on a local classified site for an incredibly affordable 600 rupees. Wanting to protect her brother, his sister immediately transferred their collective life savings to secure the home so they could move in together. The exact second the transaction went through, the scammer's number was disconnected. Hisham ran the number through Truecaller, and the database flagged the result in bright red font, property scammer. Hisham later reflected in absolute crushing heartbreak.
I am a person who is so aware of my surroundings. I know all the safety procedures. Why didn't I tell her to wait?
Tell her to wait? She's my sister. I feel so incredibly stupid. The syndicate had bypassed traditional banking tracks completely by forcing them to pay via a personal QR code linked to a mule account. The sudden financial ruin completely fractured Hisham's family, triggering bitter, painful infighting as his sister demanded he pay her back money he simply did not have. A single digital illusion didn't just take their cash.
It ruined their relationships, shattered their trust, and left behind a trail of absolute emotional devastation.
But as sophisticated as the rental syndicates are, they are nothing compared to the white-collar predators operating right in our own neighborhoods. These scammers don't just mimic a listing. They physically seize your entire home from the inside out by exploiting a massive, hidden legal loophole, the absolute legal separation between a property's title deed and its underlying mortgage. To understand how this nightmare unfolds, we have to look at Jacksonville, Florida. A massive real estate fraudster named Rafael Beto, operating under a legitimate-looking corporate entity called BG Ventures, weaponized an advanced real estate strategy known as a subject-to transaction. Beto didn't target random houses. He systematically hunted public foreclosure databases for distressed, struggling homeowners who were completely underwater on their mortgages, meaning their property value had crashed below what they still owed the bank, and they were facing tens of thousands of dollars in late payment arrears. When a homeowner is underwater and needs to move for an emergency, they are trapped. To sell the home traditionally, they legally have to bring thousands of dollars in hard cash to the closing table just to pay off the deficit to the bank. For an everyday working-class family facing financial ruin, that cash simply does not exist. At that point, Rafael Beto would take charge like a seasoned corporate professional, equipped with refined communication skills, professional business cards, and all the necessary closing documentation. He would look these desperate families in the eye and pitch his lifeline.
Sign the title deed of your house over to my company, BG Ventures. In exchange, I will bring cash to catch up on your $13,000 arrears.
Take over your monthly mortgage payments, and turn the house into a high cash flow room rental property, and you can walk away with your credit score saved and your debt managed. Relieved and desperate for an escape, the homeowners signed the paperwork at a real closing table, officially transferring the legal title deed to Beto's company. But here's the multi-million-dollar trap. While Beto's corporation now legally owned the deed and the physical title of the house, the actual mortgage note, the legal promise to repay the multi-$100,000 bank loan, remained entirely in the original, desperate homeowner's name. This strategy is perfectly legal and highly lucrative when executed ethically by real investors. But Beto had a far darker, predatory business model. The moment the ink dried on the deed transfer, Beto took total physical control of the properties. He immediately carved the interiors into cheap, multi-room student rentals to collect thousands of dollars in monthly cash rent. But he never made a single mortgage payment back to the banks. Not one check. No attempt to pay down the loans. Instead, he used his newly acquired titles to raise millions of dollars from 40 to 50 private money lenders, promising them massive yearly returns of 12 to 14%. He pocketed the investor cash, ignored the mounting bank warning letters, and walked away with an estimated $2 to $3 million in pure profit. Meanwhile, the original sellers were left completely exposed to the elements. Years later, families who thought they had escaped their debts began receiving frantic, automated notifications from their banks. Their names were still tied to the original notes, the mortgages were thousands of days in default, and the properties were all heading straight to federal foreclosure. Victims like Presley were left legally, financially trapped, forced by law to make thousands of dollars in monthly mortgage payments on houses they no longer legally owned, no longer lived in, and had zero legal right to physically enter, just to save their credit scores from total, permanent devastation. In the predatory world of high-level property fraud, the absolute ultimate camouflage for a con artist isn't a fake website or a shell company. It is public celebrity.
So why did we miss housing as the core of this crisis then? When I look through the transcripts of all, and I remember the speeches and the interviews from 2005, 2006, 2007, you, Ben Bernanke, the president, many people were saying the housing crisis, subprime will be contained, the housing market is too big, and subprime is too small to take down the financial system.
Right.
We got it wrong.
Yeah, when I came to Washington, I knew that there was a good chance that there'd be a credit crisis. We were overdue for one. I knew there was a lot of dry tinder out there, but it's very difficult beforehand to predict these things. And I think the reason that so many experts didn't see this, and the reason I didn't see it, is you look at the history of our country. Ever since World War II, we've had residential home prices have generally gone up. Mortgages have been safe investments. We haven't seen a nationwide decline in home prices. And of course, when we got the kind of decline we've experienced, behaviors change. People used to do virtually everything to avoid defaulting. They would scratch together any money they could find to make the payments. And when home prices are worth less than the...
Were dropping to a third of their value overnight, turning local courthouse steps into absolute daily bidding wars for cash investors. It was a chaotic, high-stakes environment, and that became the perfect breeding ground for a hit reality television series focused on house flipping. Scott Monaghan became a breakout star on that major television network series. He cultivated a massive public reputation as an arrogant, hyper-aggressive, flawless real estate mogul. He was constantly bragging on camera about flying back from a... You see, it's about Las Vegas with leather duffel bags completely overflowing with hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, driving brand new custom luxury supercars, and buying sprawling desert mansions.
He projected an unshakable, bulletproof image of immense wealth and real estate expertise.
Yeah.
But behind the glitz of the camera crew and the television editing,
His original real estate partner, Eric Weinbrenner, noticed an incredibly telling, dark psychological red flag. Weinbrenner ran an incredibly successful, legitimate mathematical operation, purchasing 10 to 12 properties every single afternoon on the courthouse steps. One hot afternoon, Monaghan walked into the office and loudly bragged to the entire staff that he had hiked all the way to the dangerous, steep summit of Camelback Mountain in the middle of a blistering 100-degree desert heat wave. Knowing Monaghan's physical aversion to exercise and his deep laziness, Weinbrenner laughed and made a petty bet. "I'll give you $100 right now if you can prove you actually did that." The very next morning, Monaghan walked in, swore on his life and his family's honor that he completed the entire climb, described the scenic view from the peak in perfect, vivid detail, and took the $100 cash out of Weinbrenner's hand. But a few weeks later, Weinbrenner ran into a junior company employee who was assigned to travel with Monaghan that day. Weinbrenner casually asked him, "Hey, did Scott actually make it to the top of Camelback that afternoon?" The employee looked around nervously and replied,
Well,
"You're my actual boss, so I won't lie to you."
no.
He didn't even make it a quarter of the way up the trail. He sat in the air-conditioned car, waited for the time to pass,
and looked up the description of the view on his phone. Weinbrenner was stunned. He confronted Monaghan, exposed the lie in front of the team, and fired him on the spot, packing his bags out of the building.
It wasn't about the $100, it was a life-saving business intuition. Weinbrenner realized a fundamental truth about human psychology. If a man is willing to look his closest business partner in the eye and construct an intricate, multi-layered lie just to steal $100, he possesses a mind that is capable of anything. That intuition was proven tragically correct. Over the next few years, Monaghan leveraged his reality TV star fame to construct a massive, fraudulent real estate investment empire completely independent of Weinbrenner, spinning a staggering $30 million web of financial lies. He targeted private investors, doctors, and everyday families,
taking their life savings under the pretense of buying lucrative investment properties, while using the funds to bankroll his high-flying international lifestyle.
But when the massive house of cards inevitably collapsed under the weight of a massive federal indictment, his unwitting, secondary business partner tragically took his own life under the financial pressure. Monaghan's cold, calculated reaction to that tragedy exposes the true, terrifying mind of a sociopathic property predator. He openly described his partner's death to investigators as a gift, callously stating during his deposition, "It's perfect. It's a dead man's word against mine now." How did these monsters operate right under the nose of local law enforcement for so long? The answer lies in the deep architectural flaws of our county recording systems. In almost every developed nation, county recorder offices operate on a system of pure administrative compliance, not active verification. When a deed is filed, the clerk's job isn't to call the homeowner and verify their identity. Their job is simply to ensure the paperwork is formatted correctly, the notary stamp is present, and the filing fee is paid. Criminal syndicates exploit this by creating digital identity fragments. They forge a property owner's signature on a document called a quitclaim deed, buy a counterfeit notary stamp online for $20, and submit the document digitally through e-recording portals. By the time the automated system updates the public database and mails a paper notification to the real owner's address, the syndicate has already used that fresh title to secure a cash equity loan from a private lender, wired the money into an offshore cryptocurrency exchange, and abandoned the property entirely, leaving the real owner to spend years in quiet title litigation just to prove they own their own dirt. When property fraud ascends to the absolute highest tier of international cybercrime, it stops targeting everyday individuals and begins targeting global cultural history itself. Look at the incredibly brazen, shocking attempt to forcefully snatch ownership of Graceland, the sacred historic legacy of Elvis Presley, from his granddaughter Riley Keough. An international syndicate utilized forged signatures, identity theft, and completely fabricated deed liabilities to try and force an immediate foreclosure auction sale of the iconic multi-million-dollar landmark. The exact second a federal judge threw out the fraudulent claims, the cyber syndicate operating out of Nigeria sent a chilling, mocking email directly to American newsrooms.
We've stolen millions from you blind fool Americans. We sit back and laugh at you idiots. Come and find us in Nigeria.
From the historic halls of Graceland to the corporate ownership of San Diego's Petco Park Stadium and the iconic New Yorker Hotel, the message from the global. Underworld is unified. If a piece of land exists on a map, there is a digital entity trying to forge a claim to it. But against this dark backdrop of global syndicates, everyday victims are proving
that you can fight back, survive, and completely reclaim your peace. Carla lost £10,000 in total rent arrears to a nightmare tenant. But the moment she
legally changed the locks, she completely turned her back on the stress. Instead of selling, she rented the home to her closest friend, Bea. Today, simply sitting outside. On a Sunday morning, listening to the birds and sharing a drink, she has officially won her life back. And look at Hamdi. After a brutal 18-month legal battle while living in a single spare bedroom with her newborn baby, she walked back into a home that had been completely vandalized and stripped of its good appliances. She felt like a total stranger in her own home, but she refused to run. She repaired the damage, repainted the walls, and built a massive, permanent, built-in wardrobe so absolutely no one could ever steal from her future again. She reclaimed her power, moved her family back in, and took her sovereignty back. The ultimate lesson of this global investigation is clear. The traditional handshake or the unverified digital lease is completely dead. Survival in the modern housing market requires absolute forensic vigilance. You must follow 3 unbreakable rules. First, run a comprehensive reverse image search on every single listing photo before you ever book a viewing. If that exact apartment layout pops up on a short-term vacation platform under a different name, walk away immediately. Second, cross-reference every real estate agent's license number directly with your state or national government regulatory databases to ensure they are real, active licensees, and match that identity against their government photo ID at the door. And third, never, under any circumstances, transfer a holding deposit or rent payment via a personal QR code. It's peer-to-peer app or direct wire transfer without a legally binding, escrow-verified closing account.